Fire Force has been one of those anime that I recognized from episode 1, but thought to myself the direction the story would take would give it a unique identity. There's plenty of tropes I dislike surrounding anime in this project, but when I see creative fights surrounding the element of fire, a team of firefighters who let the dead rest peacefully after turning into monsters with an unknown element of how this spontaneous combustion occurs to civilians, I think to myself, what's not to love here? The first core wasn't without its missteps, but each episode within those first 12 episodes I had more fun with than I had issues with. But once the second core got going, the true Fire Force began and really started to take my breath away. No longer just having fun with the odd episode leaving me speechless, but a good chunk of the second core was bringing the heat and I never wanted it to cool down. When I first walked into Fire Force, what I thought would be my favorite element of tackling a new human who needs to be killed so they can rest in peace. But that quickly got left behind in favor of a conspiracy-style plot, which turned out to not be that bad of a thing. Early on, I really respected the direction Fire Force took with Infernals, these humans who randomly burst into flames and now need to be laid to rest in order to give them and their families peace of mind, while they protect those surrounding them. Right off the bat, the captain of the 8th Division shuts down the two gun-ho characters Shinra and Arthur as either you respect the dead or I won't have you on my team. None of this who has the coolest weapon, you act like a grown-up. These families are suffering and it's up to us to make this transition as peaceful as possible. Don't swing around the axe that will kill someone's loved one. Learn respect. You don't drag fights out, you don't act cool, you mourn the dead, and you don't look forward to the next fire. There are those on the team whose entire purpose is delivering a farewell prayer so that their spirit will hopefully rest in peace in some form of afterlife, or at least they hope those aren't their final moments, being a monster. This isn't a shonen where those who are suffering are forced to deal with those shonen heroes that act like this is a game. Sure, those characters exist, but in times like these you can't goof off else Captain Obi will cane your ass. That alone immediately sold me that even if there are tropes I despise within this series, this compassionate direction of fighting sequences, having troubled souls, and empathetic warriors really sells this as something great and actually quite original. But then fairly quickly we stop from going from fire to fire case and transition into a more conspiracy-driven plotline, which only let this anime get better with time like a vintage wine. We still see and deal with Infernals, but rather than having an episode-style plot, we have a more narrative-focused one that carries over week by week, which is my favorite. There's a lot of things happening at any given moment in Fire Force. Every type of character you can think of is most likely in this cast, be it in a supporting or main role. But when you start learning that maybe someone within the Fire Force is behind people randomly burning alive and becoming demons, and all for what reason, that's where I saw the true potential of this story come to light, and the flame wasn't dying down anytime soon. I have 3 main points surrounding Fire Force that continue to hook me episode by episode, when generally craving a lot more. The plot of why these Infernals are being made, and why is this weird cult wanting to burn the world down, the comedy and simplistic moments between the characters, and the creative take on shonen action scenes. Cults in general provide for insane stories, as if you know anything about them, they're batshit insane and there's no leaving alive once joined. Seeing the pain early on with what Infernals do to families, it's bad enough to lose a loved one, but having them be a burning monster that will destroy your home and maybe even kill you is quite heartbreaking. To see that someone or an entire group can turn people willingly into these creatures, and as you see more and more with them, the goal of burning the earth as a whole as, what, a form of religious salvation? It's madness. But a good story needs some form of madness, a goal that shakes the protagonist's dream to the point that you don't know if they can repair the broken pieces back into the mirror that it started off as. Our lead character Shinra lost everything as a child, became so broken that he grins like a villain anytime he feels uncomfortable due to losing his family and being blamed as the monster behind it. All he wants is to save people, stop them from going through the hell that he was forced to endure, and hopefully solve the mystery of what happened to his family and save everyone from this infernal curse that they're all forced to bear. As anyone, anytime, could become this demonic and lose everything without a moment's notice. Then you have a cult who wants to burn everyone for lunatic-driven reasons. It's madness. That's a recipe for success in terms of crafting a compelling narrative, which so far they are living up to my expectations. You then add in a few handfuls of comedic relief spices and fun personalities, and the stew is looking a lot more complete and ready to eat. Where the shonen formula shines the most is in the more mundane situations surrounding characters talking or arguing in the case of Arthur and Shinra. But these are the moments that help make the whole journey worth it. I love my dark and messed up tales, don't get me wrong, but for a show like this, I felt like it was a good idea to balance the burning of humans with comfy scenes as to not wear the viewer out. The entire 8th Division is one big dysfunctional family that, when it counts, will be there for each other. Watching them not fighting infernals but having cute little moments where the girls realize they need to up their game as the only one who can cook worth a damn is this guy, as they start to worry about their so-called girly charms in future relationships. The constant back and forth about who is stronger with Shinra or Arthur, if asked, are they best friends, would probably laugh in your face, but clearly are more inseparable than they are willing to admit. As they are so similar, they naturally become friends, but because they have so much in common, constantly butt heads like frenemies would. Shinra tries to be the hero that flies in to save the day, where Arthur plays knight, and the more delusional he is, the stronger his insanity and abilities become. Those two are my favorites hands down, because even when I think I know what they'll do, something like this can happen and is quite glorious. You feel as if this crew can be serious, honoring someone's life to then goofing off like a group of people who have known each other since they were born. They gossip, they flirt, they crack jokes, and they'll kick your ass on the daily. Early on, the balance of when the simpler scenes should pop up can be jarring at times, but as this series gets rolling, it finds its groove and knows when to goof off and when to let the dramatic play out. If someone is dying, don't let Arthur be a dumbass, but if he is holding a scene together elsewhere, maybe let him play pretend knight. Now, it doesn't mean it's perfect, as you still have characters whose entire quirk is to let something sexual happen to them, and let's see how quickly that grows old. Though I did notice in the second core they snuck in a funny little line of, hey, her ability isn't active at this moment for some reason, which was a fun little way to say, maybe we'll tone her down for a little bit, but of course you know it's gonna come back at some point. The point is, more often than not, these characters are worth having on screen, be it for a slice-of-life moment to something more insane and action-oriented. So when you get into the combat, rather than it just feeling like a bunch of flames attacking one another, they find numerous ways to both stylistically make them different from the last while also coming up with creative new abilities that can be used. A character like Benimaru is unheard of, a man who can both create his own flames while also controlling them from an external fire source. He is regarded as the strongest for this very reason. No one should be able to do that, but this badass can. But each character has a unique moveset and the way their flames differ from the last person. Whether that be a character using their abilities in combination with equipment to freeze blast someone, Shinra's flaming kicks allowing for aerial-based combos and insane martial arts, Arthur's swords that he powers up to unleash a nightly slash of flames, turning your body into flaming catware which adds surprising mobility while also looking pretty awesome all in the process, the princess who manifests her flames in the form of flowers and beautiful scenery that, like her personality, you'll think, oh, so sweet and innocent, to then stepping all over you and making you scream in agony, or pleasure if that's your fetish. All the ignition abilities have some form of uniqueness to them, whether that be a simple color change or the way the flames are animated to feel as if each person's flames are a living and breathing person, so like someone's walk, their fire should feel unique as well. But in execution, continuously finding new ways to make me say, huh, we hadn't seen a flaming arrow before, but that's pretty rad. Sure, it's still just another fire ability, but it's used in such a way that I hadn't witnessed before, while also being visually distinct to make it feel as if each action set piece is well thought out, and not just simply all flash and no substance like so many battle shonens are guilty of. It obviously helps that David Production animated the flames beautifully, so of course, many will naturally get a kick out of them. But if it wasn't for this writing holding it together, I would have lost interest in the action long ago. See, that's the beauty of Fire Force. It's built as if it's an early 2000s battle shonen anime, and the first core does play out very familiar to a series from that era. But even characters like Princess Hibane, who I enjoyed the personality of initially, but I thought to myself, yeah, she is the same character I've seen plenty of times. But the anime never bothered me by having her on screen. In fact, as the series continued on, I really enjoyed her everyone sucks but Shinra attitude, as she had butterflies in her stomachs for him, as he caught the hell out of dodge mentality. The most important area for me with any anime is the characters, as a shitty story can be held together by a solid cast of characters. However, a shitty cast of characters ruins a great story for me, as I'm just pissed off when I see some poorly written character interacting with a very solid plot. It just grinds my gears. That's simply how I am. Early on in Fire Force, I was really just having a lot of fun. Certain characters sure rub me the wrong way, but from Arthur to Shinra, Captain Obi, the mysterious Joker character who you never really know is he friend or foe, hell even Maki, I simply enjoyed a majority of the characters, so the ones I did couldn't take me out of the moment more often than not. I was just enthusiastic to experience touchy funerals that the Fire Force would deal with, and how they would transition to wanting to find Shinra's long-lost brother and dealing with a cult mixed in with a who can we trust dilemma. The problems I had mostly just went away, and the more generic characters became more fascinating with time as they were given more prominent roles to flex what they can actually offer for the story than just a one-off gag. When I can feel emotionally broken watching backstory play out as those practicing religion are engulfed in flames, or a little boy is heartbroken at the loss of his family, it proves that it doesn't simply hook you with these shonen battles, but rather the characters have their moments to truly move you, making fights have stakes as we know should someone perish, it will hurt us as the anime has done already with simple flashbacks. So damn this cult and whoever the hell is behind these atrocities. Fire Force obviously will not be for everybody, nor would I recommend it to just anyone, but I think it has this very nice sweet spot of that classic battle shonen formula that isn't seen in anime with such high level production, while simultaneously having a gripping narrative with enough emotional punches to the heart to tie us over until the next shocking reveal. The characters more often than not made me laugh or find amusing enough to feel warranted in taking up screen space. It's a show that deserves the attention for the sole reason of reviving old forgotten shonen styles without too much baggage as those past series definitely had. One week I'm cheering like a sports fan at crazy action, to the next I'm nervous wondering what this cult will do to my favorite character or just the innocent bystanders. Fire Force is a blast, it's pure entertainment, but it also has enough moments where you recognize it's more than just some shonen of the season. It paved its own path, and the more who check out Fire Force, the longer this series will live on in the world of anime. But at the end of the day, maybe I'm just making this video to hype up Arthur Boyle, my lovable idiot knight who will strap donkey heads to his crotch and pretend he is a knight in shining armor, and somehow that powers him up, or he'll place his sword in the wrong hand and also that somehow lowers his power level. I guess I'm a child and that's the true reason for me saying to go watch Fire Force. But hey, there's been worse reasons to recommend anime, I suppose. For those who have any thoughts on Fire Force or this video, be sure to let me know yours down in the comment section below. Be it a favorite character, joke, WTF moment that I've brought up, whatever you're feeling, do let me know. Remember to leave a like if you did enjoy, and be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't been new around here. But lastly, there's always my Patreon for those who want to go the extra mile and help support what I do around here even more, but of course, that is if you so wish. So until next time everyone, please take care, and have a good one.